Hey, how's it going? Today is Sunday, December the 21st, just a few more days before Christmas, so Merry Christmas early, by the way. This is a video response to Brian's video on diversity and the economy and all that good stuff. I'm just going to add my 2 cents on that. First of all, I want to say, Brian, you hit every nail right on the head. That was good and everything that you said about that. I agree 100% with everything that you said. I just wanted to add a few things to it. Now, we talk about, if you got a solid gig right now, don't give it up. Well, I agree 100% with that. I'm doing my mobile DJ business, as you know, and, well, sometimes we run into times when things are not really going as great as they have. I mean, December has not been really as great as I'd hoped it had been. Now, it's, overall this year, I'll have to admit 2008 has been my best year in mobile DJing so far. But as for the month of December, I just haven't gotten as many Christmas parties as I would hope to have gotten. And I think the economy really has a lot to do with that. But I got a lot of gigs back in the spring. I mean, a lot of them back in the spring and summer. And, normally it's just the exact opposite. Usually I get all my gigs toward the end of the year. But this year, for some reason, it was just the exact opposite. But now for me personally, it has been a pretty good year for the DJ service. Like I said, it's been probably the most successful year so far. And I'm hoping 2009 will be just as good. Actually, I've already booked 11 gigs so far for 2009, and we haven't even hit 2009 yet. So, I would say, in my mobile DJ business, I would say I'm doing pretty good. Not as good as I'd want to do, but do we ever do as good as we want to do? That's the way you got to look at things. But hey, I'm pretty proud of what I've accomplished so far this year. But now let's talk a little bit about having a solid gig. Okay, if you work at a club like during the week, maybe do mobiles on the weekend, or maybe you're like me, you got another job that you do. Like I work at 2 radio stations right now, and I do my mobile DJ business as well. Well, I know a lot of people would like to be able to do mobile DJing full time, and probably right now is not the time to think about quitting your day job. Now look at me, for example. What if I decided, okay, I don't need the radio station anymore, or I think I'm just going to quit and I'm going to go ahead and just do my mobile DJ business for now, do that full time. Well, right now would not be the time to do it, because the way the economy is and things like that, it's just not a good time to be thinking about doing that. And, to be quite honest with you, I think that, my radio DJ career is really helping out my mobile DJ career because, people know who I am around here, and that helps out a lot. So I look at that as kind of an asset, and I think it helps me out a lot. So I think that, I'm definitely going to stick with my radio career as well as my mobile DJ career. I think each one of them complements the other. You know what I'm saying? I think, the radio career helps my mobile DJ business, and my mobile DJ business helps my radio career. I think it goes hand in hand right there. So I think it really helps out a lot. So, yeah, I wouldn't think about doing that right now. This is just not the time to think about doing something like that. Now let's talk a little bit about diversity. Okay, you're probably thinking about maybe playing to a different group that you've never played for before. Maybe it's a black crowd, maybe it's a Latino crowd, or maybe it's a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, something like that. Yeah, like Brian said, you don't need to be afraid to do things like that. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, earlier this year, I got a booking for a wedding for a black couple. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was a little bit worried about it just because I had never really played to a solid black group before. But you know what? That ended up being the best gig, well, probably one of the best gigs that I've had so far this year. And just one of the nicest couples you could ever meet, nice family, everything. It was a very successful gig. And I'll tell you how I did it. Okay? I'm not really familiar with a lot of the hip-hop music, probably like a lot of you are, because, other than probably Soulja Boy and the Cupid Shuffle, just things you get requested at the schools. Well, I really don't know a whole lot about that music because I don't really listen to it. But here's what I did. When the bride asked me to DJ her wedding, we were talking about that, and I told her, I said, well, I'm really not, familiar with a lot of today's hip-hop music, so why don't you do this? Will you make me a list of the music that you want played, and I'll make sure I get it? And she did. She made me a list, and I went on Napster. I downloaded all the songs. And, well, now not only do I have a pretty wide variety of hip-hop music that I can use for other gigs, but I made them happy because I played exactly what they wanted. They made me a list of all the songs they wanted. Half of it I'd never even heard of before, but you know what? It kept the people on the dance floor the entire night. And, I was a little bit worried going into it because I thought, oh my gosh, what if I bomb? I've never played to a group like this. But you know what? They were very grateful and very happy about how I did things. And another thing I wanted to mention too, she told me that she'd like me to find radio edited versions of some of the songs because, they're a family oriented event, and and she said she didn't want any bad language or anything like that. So just a real high-class group of people. And, her husband was is a military in the military. I think he serves in the Air Force over in Japan. But one of the nicest couples I could have ever done a gig for, and one of the nicest families I could have ever done a gig for, and just a really successful gig. So don't be afraid to take risks when it comes to things like that. Believe me, I've done that before, and I'm proof on it. Okay, so it does work out, and just communicate with your clients about that. Ask them, what do you want to hear? What kind of music do you want? I've never done a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah, but if I did, I would probably, talk to the client and, ask them, what do you want, and get their feedback, and, communication is the key to that. So, don't be afraid to play to somebody maybe outside of your ethnic group, or maybe a little bit out of your comfort zone, because I'll be honest with you, living in Florida, being around here, we get a lot of beach weddings and things like that. We get a lot of country people wanting weddings, and, it was a little bit different, but, hey, it's okay. We'll get through it, and, it's communication is the key to it. Okay? All right, now something else I want to talk about. I want to get back to the economy just for a second. Now, when you turn on the news, you're probably hearing about, how everything's just going down. The United States is just going to hell in a handbasket and things like that, and it's going to be bad and everything else. Well, my whole thought on that, I think that the media is probably making it out to be a lot worse than it really is. That's just the way I feel about it. Okay, now I'm not saying things are good or they're going to be good, but I'm just saying that I think that they're making it sound like it's going to be a lot worse than it really is. That's just my opinion on that. The president-elect is saying that it's going to get worse before it gets better. I think it probably will get worse before it gets better, but I don't think we're going to hit rock bottom. That's just my opinion on that. I think that they're trying to make it sound like that it's just going to be chaos and people running through the streets and killing and all that other stuff. It's not going to be anything like that, okay? I'll put it to you this way. A few years ago, I had a guy that was helping me do my books for the DJ service, and he was an economics major. And he and I were talking in his office one day, and he was telling me, about some suggestions I should do as far as money, and, we were making, just some small talk about that, stocks and bonds and, that kind of stuff. You probably hear all about that. Well, this is what he told me, and it really makes a lot of sense when you think about it. He said that, he can't promise that we're going to, have a smooth flight the entire time. We may hit some turbulence, but we won't crash. Okay, now think about that for a second. Right now we're going through some turbulent times, but we're not going to crash. Okay, and we may hit some strong turbulence, but the plane's not going to go down. It's not going to crash. It may hit some strong turbulence before we get back to some smooth air, but it's not going to crash. So the best thing to do right now in this economy the way it is keep your chin up and just realize it's going to get better eventually. And we don't know when it's going to get better. We don't know if it's going to be 6 months, if it's going to be a year, 2 years. I hope it's not that long. But it will eventually get better. It will rebound. We've been in a lot worse situations before. And, this is just a little hurdle that we're having to go through. And, we're going to weather the storm. And, once we get through it, I think it's going to be a lot better. And I think when the economy comes back, it's going to come back full force and strong. And, I think things are going to be a lot better before then. But in the meantime, just try to keep your head up and just try to do what you can do in the meantime to get through whatever the economic situation that you may have right now. So that's just my little food for thought. And remember, again, we may hit some turbulent weather, but we're not going to crash. Okay? I know easier said than done, but that's just my take on the whole situation. So that's where I'm going to leave this. If you got any comments or anything, feel free to drop me an email, sndjentinc@aol.com. And it's about 4:15 right now. I've got to be at work at the radio station at WXBM tonight at 6. So, by the way, if you're watching this tonight and you want to listen to me on the air, I will be on the air starting at 9 o'clock this evening. That's 9 o'clock Central Time. I will be at work at 6, but we're running Country Countdown USA with Lon Helton from 6 to 9. But you'll be able to hear me on the air from 9 to midnight tonight doing a special shift. So, again, that's 9 to midnight Central Time, 10 to 1 Eastern Time. So check it out. Go to WXBM.com, click on Listen Live, and you can listen to me on the air. Practice and enjoy.